as a writer-producer, the essence of Parineeta would be really to encourage good cinema.
Yeah, correct? What we were trying to do was achieve that one look of I can face the world myself alone. See this, instead of this. Subtle movements, एक जो पल्लू का गिरना, छोड़ना.
Yeah. Rolling.
And action. We had named it Namane Man.
I did not get Mr. Pradeep Sarkar to direct a film for me. Mr.
Narrating the story to me, he said it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Mr. Pradeep Sarkar got me to produce a film for him.
Why not do Parineeta itself?
Even though the novel was set in the earlier part of the 19th century, but really the emotions were so universal.
Then I wrote in English a story which was actually Parineeta.
In terms of adapting a great classic, when you do, it's a great responsibility because you don't want to deform the classic, you want to adapt it.
It was all a question of how well can we adapt it to 60s Calcutta.
How do you write about a story where a lot is unsaid in a time where it's all out there? That was the biggest hurdle of the entire adaptation.
All of us sat down and looked at the first draft of the script. We knew that it was a movie worth making.
When I started drawing the scenes step by step on the storyboard and doing the audiobook finally.
This place is getting sold. You and he has just told you are a whore, you get out from here.
And the storyboard and the audioboard and the storyboard. Yes, scenes were developed.
There is one shot where he's sitting here, she comes out of a vein.
I'm not from any particular background of filmmaking. We were all doing our own thing. The storyboard, the audioboard.
An audioboard is like the entire film recorded just in audio. So if you switch off the screen, how would you hear the film?
सब जानते हैं आपके नवीन भाई साहब.
These are tools to make the shooting easy. It's homework. This is 30 feet.
That's with that. We'll decide that.
I believe that what Sharat Babu was trying to do in writing this novel, and it's an adaptation, as you know, is perhaps talk about marriage.
What exactly is the state of mind of marriage?
Is marriage a ritual or is marriage in your head, in your heart?
When they exchange the garlands and therefore become man and wife is done so brilliantly. I think it's done far better in the movie than it is in the book.
Everything changes when the third person comes in and how he deals with it, how he can't deal with it.
I mean, Shekhar is a slightly flawed character. He's not a normal kind of hero.
And Shekhar was not speaking, and therefore he was telling the audience that, hey, I'm having a problem communicating.
Parineeta is about Shekhar's mind.
And therefore the intensity of Shekhar came out by not speaking too much.
I think the biggest villain in the movie is the way he deals with himself.
Lolita is a character who remained the same throughout.
Lolita was telling the audience
The quintessential Indian woman.
the way Sharat Chandra treats his women characters.
The fact that the movie has strong characters and very strong emotions immediately places it into the heart of India.
Weaker sex being the stronger sex is because of the weakness of the stronger sex on the weaker sex. You can take it as a joke or you can take it as a reality.
See, this is the girl that we need. If we get anything less than that, this film won't happen. Film won't work.
Awesome eyes.
This film is being made for this face.
এটা দেখ এটা না এরমে ঢুকে যাচ্ছে কোথায় নিচে দেখ. He trusted me in the judgment of choosing Vidya as an actor. I understand her quite a lot and she understands me more than that. He did a vigorous test.
अगर मुझमें कुछ उनको नजर नहीं आता तो शायद कहानी शुरू होती, शायद एक ही टेस्ट के बाद कहानी खत्म हो जाती.
But looks wise he was amazed at all.
The first test was completely not accepted.
Because other people were there. The biggest of the biggest.
It was a difficult decision. You cannot make such an expensive film with a newcomer, whether an established heroine is willing to do it for you on the same terms.
He turned around and said, no, you do the film yourself. If I like it, I buy it. I just had nothing to say. We were shattered. And I felt so bad that my guru wasn't accepting my conviction. If Vidya is good, one test we should do, 2 more tests, 5 more tests we should do, and the best person should win. That evening, we did a proper test again. What happened, I don't know, but I don't think anybody looked in Indian cinema so beautiful. We haven't been able to replicate that turn, that look till date. One look and he said, this is the girl.
If I believe it to be the right thing, I believed Vidya Balan to be the right person for the film, and of course Pradeep Sarkar tested for 6 months to finally bring her where I was convinced.
Anu, Mr. Chopra's wife, she said, "Kyun bichari ko dekhne gayi hai Enrique?" And Mr. Chopra said that her life is getting made. She better come out.
She got better with every test, and finally we found that it works. She was Lolita.
So much that's genuine about her performance that is because she's new.
Vidya, I think she's a very fine actress. Just the small gestures, what she does on her own, I mean reactions to my dialogues, I sort of observed that. And she will go a long way, and she's I think going to be a very, very fine actress.
When I think about Parineeta, I do see myself in the movie, but I very clearly see many visuals of Vidya just looking amazing. Vinod did not want to cast either me or her, I think. And he repeatedly says that. But then after he saw the rushes in the film, he was like, okay, I'm totally convinced that this is great. That's quite big in itself also.
I'm proud as a producer that I had the balls to say, okay, I will take a new girl and put in so much money to make this film because I believe that this is the right thing to do.
And it's again Dada's conviction.
I had this line. I didn't know what to do in front or what to do after.
It's a union of two souls.
So Mr. Chopra came with the idea that why don't you break this, give it staccato lines.
She said, the boy says,
दिल की जो बातें हैं
she said,
दिल ही में रखना पिया
then she continued,
मैंने पूछा इठला के जल्दी का
To my tune. Suppose we don't give the words. Suppose a flute.
Some words.
flute, humming, boy, girl.
Contrast of straight lines and suddenly long legato from it. I think that is a very interesting part of piano.
Real sound,
big 5.1.
superb. And it comes back to the real house.
जिया डोले हाले
जब भैया यहाँ पे वो बारिश शुरू होता है
and with one lightning she goes and runs to him.
Shift focus from one after another.
आधो आधा
अच्छा
आस्ते जाच्छे और भावे शुरू करो.
मतलब फर्स्ट टाइम इट इज लिटिल नर्वसनेस
उसको फिल्म के लिए चाहिए, but for the audio you feel free and sing, and if need be for the movie we will read up these lines separate.
ओके दैट्स फाइन
Thank you. I can see relief in As we keep making music, he keeps making the movie.
चेंज बना था वो कैंसिल कर दीजिए, वो से ही रखते हैं. Because we have worked so long, we don't see each other as separate compartments but together.
हाँ ओके हॉल ओके ओके ओके
Horlicks.
You don't have to sing what the pilot is singing. You can hum, you can go la la la.
La 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 la. Like this. Yes, you're mine. You are mine. Say you're mine. Yes, you're mine.
The singers, right from Sonu Nigam, Shreya Ghoshal, Sundi Chauhan, they just kind of loosened up for it. They all realized that something special is happening.
Never heard a singer sing so well on the first.
Thanks, sir.
Actually, they came for rehearsals. They sang for 6 hours. Sonu Nigam was crying while he was singing.
Okay, you want that? पियू बोले, पिया बोले, क्या ये बोले?
पियू बोले पिया बोले जिया डोले हाले हाले क्यों ये डोले जानो ना.
My reference point for Mora Rouge was Shotto.
I somehow felt that you need that kind of experience to sing such a song.
The quintessential nightclub singer.
कैसी पहेली जिंदगानी.
The dignity, the poise.
And people used to sing songs of life.
That is what I wanted to capture.
There was an era of happiness, of exuberance,
Brass line, piano.
lots of romance.
Tribute to what 60s item number was.
Very good looking actress. You know, that's like legend Rekha.
She just came in and she enveloped us with all her love and with all her professionalism.
Baby.
Choreographer Howard Rosemeyer. He's very good. He comes up with innovative, movements.
You know what you have to do? You have to make this fat man dance.
नहीं 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 ये बातें हैं.
And he said, listen, you're fussing so much, so come to the studio and listen to the song which I'm going to give you have in the film. I was just completely bowled over by that song, and I did my own little number. Then Mr. Chopra, showed me what Sanjay was supposed to do with his saxophone, and I think that song completely bowled me over. We did the research for 9 months. For Vidya was 13 rigorous trials. Mostly the referencing was from the old movies in English, Hindi and Bengali. I went to Calcutta and I went to all the old Banarasi shops where they have these stock of Banarasis which are rejected, and we created those Banarasi saris into 60s pattern. I I did a lot of hair trials and costume trials for the film. Pavitra would keep shooting those hairstyles, and I would keep telling him like, oh, you have to try and make me look beautiful, because I kept thinking I look like a nerd. Take that on record. This is my last beautiful film where I look like that. Also, we did a lot of referencing from people's personal albums. What kind of fabric, what kind of texture, what kind of prints. We just kept going back and like trying on all the costumes of the film, and then again Shubhana would fit them accordingly, and then again I had to go back. Simple cuts with simple fabric, a lot of cottons, a lot of crochet. First time I was asked to do a costume trial, I thought, oh my god, look at these bizarre costumes and I'm not going to wear them. My pants were like so high. He loves to see more options because one can always be better than the other and the third one can be better. He has a sketch in his mind which he will brief you perfectly. Where's the other blouse? When she came to the set, the blouse was loose.
Even this has a very pretty back. You just have that in your mind. That's why you're thinking. See, look at this.
Nutty! Dada has to have that in mind. The blouse is like, it has to be like skin fit.
Why was I shown? Why was I shown?
So he said, why?
Why wasn't I told there's a change is happening? She is telling me that the yellow is not the shooting. At this point of time, you can't tell me that. I've composed the shot with the back. I got a picture reference of the main costume. There's a pattern in the blouse. It's got this, and I've taken a back shot.
I was like,
I can give you that back. It's nice. But it's out of better level.
You never know what happens in the set. So why the blouse is like that? Change it right away. I want it right now. It's like, what did you do with that costume? It's looking horrible. Luckily, that day I had a pink sari, and to match with that I had a blouse standby. See, that's why I'm saying lots of options we have to keep for him. I made her wear that sari and the blouse, and it was looking beautiful. And I said, see what you've done. Look what you've done. It's so much beautiful. It doesn't praise much if you do good, So when it comes from him, it's like rain after drought. It's like that.
After a long, long time, people have seen love.
किसी अंदाज से इस तरह पैसे लिए जाते हैं क्या? Why don't you understand is okay?
Perfect. Absolutely. Wait. This is Dada. ये होता है. Camera is here. Camera really doesn't travel. She goes behind and camera goes.
अच्छा.
Got it?
To get his face. To get his face.
This.
Okay.
The scene from where they go from fight to lovemaking. It was a very difficult scene, and I can't tell you how many drafts I wrote of that scene.
Believe it, I never expected to be so beautiful.
Innocence with which that happens from the side of the girl, from Lolita, and then the way in which Shekhar responds and makes it a bond, which is a conscious bond, is just exceptional. It chokes you.
Yeah. Slow.
Dada, all my ganda angles is shooting.
Okay, go. Slowly go down. Some locks इधर उधर like सकते हैं, but nothing like that.
That side?
Yeah, that side. Then put the hair on that side. Hair.
Yeah, I'm ready. Dada!
He's pumped and
ready. Dada, he's pumped and ready. Please shoot Dada and out. This is why the film is taken. Come in.
Yeah, order please.
This is why we're about 3 years over schedule. Dada's jogging many hours on the treadmill.
And then the next lovemaking of Sanjay, that was in his mind. Nothing was happening. Jealousy.
Through this, that nothing would be seen.
Sanjay's face now. The shadow is falling. Vidya ko bulaiye. This Kandha.
So I just hold that.
Now slowly come down the way.
I trust Dada too much. So I know I'm in safe hands.
something like that.
The camera is going in. See.
I don't know what's going to happen, really.
Back. I'm cutting here.
Okay.
Though he's a huge star, it shouldn't look in any way unbecoming of me or of the film.
So your face has to be to the right, sir. Stand by. Sanjay to come down a bit, please. But you have to cover her, sir. Right, sir. In this one, I wanted to go inside Shekhar's mind and eye. You know, there was a shot when she looks straight into the camera. It's not done. In cinema, you don't do that. Straight into the camera. She said, so, what do you think of that? That killed Shekhar. And in the piano sequence, you know, God, I don't want to. I just want to die. Let me get married to Gayatri.
Howdy.
When that little Lolita comes and says, "Ye dhun tumne banai," every time I enact it out, I start crying. It took him time to understand why is this happening, and when he understood, he cried.
सन 1962 कोलकाता.
And as a city, I've fallen in love all over again.
It was the magic of Bengal that first I found very attractive.
It's a very strange city. It's like Paris.
The fact that he was very familiar with Calcutta of the 60s, I think gave us a lot of confidence.
Recreating Calcutta as it was in the 60s was not such a difficult task because I belong to that particular time period.
It has to be facts. It can't be fiction. Fortunately, we were in a city where things of 60s still existed. A little bit of heritage and modernity.
When you adapt a classic like Parineeta, you don't deform it, like I said. So you really adapt it. And Calcutta was where it was based, and that's where we went. And it's unusual because we could have created on a much cheaper, cost sets in Bombay and finished in Bombay, but the whole crew sat in Calcutta, even when they were shooting inside a home, because I think finally the performances, the actors, when they walk through the lanes, by lanes of Calcutta in order to get to that location, I think a lot of Bengal gets into them. So for me, we've spent a hell of a lot of money in Calcutta because I think that's where the film should have been shot.
One good thing about Dada is he's man of perfection. Till he gets it, no matter it's big actor or a small DP like me, he'll make sure we work. Thoda bahut problem chata hai late night.
Where am I fighting? Where am I fighting? I'm not fighting. I'm also not fighting.
Bobby, what is this, Bobby?
Everybody is tired, Nati. Everybody is tired.
Dada, my body is paining.
Everybody is.
How can I should not react to this? What are you saying?
Of course you react. But if you fight, it won't solve anything.
When did I fight with you? Tell me now.
You're screaming now. You're screaming for the first time in 30 fucking years. You're screaming with me. You know that? You know what I'm feeling like? You're okay with your lights?
I'm okay.
Did I silhouette everything?
Yeah, he's okay with his
You're
lights.
delighted.
1.5 लाख हवाई जहाज खरीद.
1.5 lakh. I don't have.
Slick back hair.
6 more days.
I'm damn sleepy, my head's hurting. I'm got a concussion.
That
Feeling
was
dizzy and nauseous after banging the... Huh?
That was old now.
I already said that?
Yeah.
Okay, my stomach's hurting. Now let me go.
one person I went and met when I entered the industry, and I professed the wish to work with that person, and that was Mr. Vinod Chopra.
He's super.
I make movies that I believe should be made, and I make them. Simply.
That, I think, is the biggest strength of this man, that he believes that you do what you have to do and people will follow.
Array, it's quite interesting producer.
I think one of the reasons our youth or our culture is going down the drain is because the cinema is actually influencing the young and the old to really go culturally in a way that our country or we are not really meant to go.
I would be more proud to show Parineeta to a Western audience, saying this is India and this is an Indian story.
We are capable of making sensible, sensitive, good cinema.
There's various kinds of producers, but genuine producers are artists. They realize their vision. They hire the director who they feel will realize their vision the best.
The scene demands. You ask him a golden palace to be constructed somewhere. He'll make it and give it to you.
I've got tremendous passion for cinema.
Anything, anywhere, he can give it to you.
Wrote it and he was there on the script, and in crucial points he was there. But also he let us make the movie on our own.
I never go on the set. I let my director direct a film.
Came to my set for 2 times, and both the time we were there for 2 minutes. And he always says, "You guys work, man. What am I doing here?"
Which is also the sign of a kind of paternal creator.
Mr. Chopra, thank you, sir.
It's because he exactly knows what he wants.
Dada is equivalent to detailing.
Something that was supposed to take 2 hours took about 7 hours because of the detailing and the passion with which Dada was treating it.
Exasperating and exquisite.
That's my way, I guess. Scream and shout.
Dada is equivalent to perfection.
I think Pradeep Sarkar is brilliant.
Maddening and magical.
Quite a bit of madness. And that madness, I guess, it continued till the end.
The visuals that he has captured for Parineeta, I doubt if I could ever do that.
Terrific and terrible.
It is so much of people effort, everybody coming together, getting enthused to do one thing and making that thing happen.
Pradeep Sarkar has done a much better job of Parineeta than I could ever do. Please believe me.
We knew that whatever he does with it will be near perfect. In the end, that did get proved right. It was near perfect.
Actually, thanks to Dada. On top of this, my producer, Mr. Vinod Chopra. On top of everything, the Almighty, the God.
It's brilliance at work.
It's a dream, you're into a dream, a surreal energy, surreal place. That becomes the reality, living with the reality. Suddenly, all those people are not dead, they're not there. All those people you knew, they're not there, they're just not there. They're all in my head trying to scream and come out at times. But to see them, to meet them, I have to go to a screen, and it's loneliness of another kind.
Dada told me you were very adamant on making it a period film rather than something like a Dil Chahta Hai. Why?
I don't know. I think the kind of morality in Parineeta for a start is, and the kind of characters and the way they behave. Initially when we read the story and the kind of the main points of the story, I felt that if you go back a little bit in time, it would be more believable and acceptable. Even though Dada felt that the morality is applicable today also, I felt if you try and make it a sort of young, today's generation kind of movie, the language, the clothes and the style wouldn't match the story, whereas a Calcutta story made by Pradeep Sarkar shot in a certain way. The kind of sets that we have, the costumes, the dialogues that are spoken, fit much more sort of better really with the period, like going back to the 60s. Also, the kind of look that we managed to get in the film and cinematography का जो style है, मेरे ख्याल से अगर 60s की कहानी अगर हम एक period film बनाते तो, और वैसे भी कैलकाटा, ऐसे काफ़ी जगह हैं कैलकाटा में architectural और there are many homes also that haven't changed much, वो ज़्यादा बदले नहीं हैं since the 60s. तो वहाँ shooting करके एक बहुत genuine feel आई है. And I don't think it's very interesting to tell the story of Parineeta as a story of today, but helped with like a beautiful look of light and shadow and the wonderful cinematography that Mr. Natarajan has done.
How did the whole process start? Were you looking at doing the script someday, or were you looking at doing a period film?
Well, I think it started at a time when I was a little worried about what I'm going to do next, and Mr. Vidhu Vinod Chopra called me and उन्होंने मुझे एक रोल ऑफ़र किया पिक्चर में, एक्चुअली गिरीश का रोल ऑफ़र किया था, और मैंने उनसे पूछा कि आप मुझे अपना लीड रोल क्यों नहीं देते. एंड इट वाज फनी, ही सेड आई नेवर थॉट ऑफ यू एज दैट, आई डोंट थिंक ऑफ यू एज दैट, एंड ही हैड समवन एल्स इन माइंड. एंड देन आई सेड आई वुड मच रादर प्ले द लीड बिकॉज इट साउंड्स लाइक अ ग्रेट रोल, क्योंकि रोल सुनने के बाद मुझे बहुत पसंद आया. और मेरे ख्याल से मैंने ना कर दी थी गिरीश के रोल के लिए, पता नहीं क्यों. और दादा who was sitting there sort of saw me or saw something in me and he said, wow, यही मेरा main character है. And he sort of, I think, fought a little bit with our producer and sort of insisted on me, which was great, and insisted on the girl and insisted on many castings that were not okay initially, and I'm very happy he did that because I think it's all of us do suit our parts extremely well.
How much Shekhar are you?
Dada said that totally, in every way, and maybe we are similar. I mean Shekhar is a slightly flawed character. He's not a normal kind of hero. He has certain problems that are not. But all his problems are in his mind, which is like real life, There's no. I think the biggest villain in the movie is the way he deals with himself. So that's like most of us, and I think it's quite an identifiable character. And I think there's a bit of Shekhar in everybody. But yeah, I think interestingly, I did suit it. I didn't have to do much preparation or aside from trying to figure out. So I came to the conclusion that my character is like a lot like my father is. So I imitated him in some scenes. So that made it much easier once I had a mental idea. So I think Shekhar is a little bit more like my father than like me, maybe. I'm much cooler.
Any apprehensions considering you're working with this team for the first time, that to a fresh director, a new setup totally?
Well, when we did the test shoot, there was Dada and there were like 4 or 5 young girls who are all the same height, and they're a hell of a gang, and they started screaming and going ballistic, and something that was supposed to take 2 hours took about 7 hours initially because of the detailing and the passion with which Dada was treating it. And I thought it was a test shoot, and I got a little indication that things might get a little scary later on, like this is going to be a marriage between Dada and me, and a lot of commitment required, obviously, all the time. But I don't know how to describe him, but once he starts, he doesn't stop. And at one point we shot, I knew it would happen, and we shot 36 hours non-stop in order to make the schedule, which I think, anyway, we crossed the line a few times. So my apprehension was that, okay, this is going to be huge in terms of, my life is going to be only Parineeta for a while, and that's the way it should be. So I think I was actually quite looking forward to it. I wouldn't really come just joking. I wouldn't call it an apprehension. One of the reasons I signed the film also was because I knew I was working with extremely passionate people who are also more intelligent than me and know the subject better than I do, and love cinema so much that they'll almost forget to eat and will give up their own health and everything for the film, which is it's always nice to work with people like that. And I knew that whatever happens, whether the film runs or not, it's going to be special.
From your point of view, can you just tell us a little bit about the film? Maybe a little bit about your character, just basics.
Well, you see, I think in our country, I mean, we're in the film industry, we're offered various kinds of scripts and stories, but the ones I think that are the most interesting to do personally are films that are about relationships, because that's something that is really key in a country like ours. What I'm trying to say is that, a thriller about a nuclear bomb is not so interesting to the common man. Most of our films that are successful, I've noticed, are about relationships of some sort. So this is basically primarily a film about relationships, but relationships between interesting people. And I think Sharat Chandra wrote more than one story about the sort of bond between childhood friends that almost grow into lovers, that a feeling of apnapan with the male and female character, and then that relationship going wrong for whatever reason. So Parineeta on the surface is primarily a story between Shekhar Rai, played by myself, who is a businessman's son and is wealthy, and but he's probably quite politically aware also, as someone of his age and mindset would have been in Calcutta in those days. But he decided not to follow his father in the business and became a musician. And I think he's quite a complicated, slightly introverted kind of chap who doesn't express himself too clearly or very healthily, but then often we don't. So because of his mind and because of demons in his mind, he almost sort of loses his soul and his love. And then again, because of his mind, he manages to save himself and his relationship. So that's the crux of Parineeta. Also a love triangle in a way. I mean, clearly it's a love triangle also between Sanjay Dutt, myself, and Vidya. And a story, a father and son story, a mother and son story.
While on the subject of culture and morality, do you feel the kind of values the film is based on, say, the youth of today, a college-going guy or a college-going girl would actually, connect with or identify with?
Absolutely. See, I think the most important thing about a classic of any sort is why it endures, because it's still relevant. So you read a story, whether it's Shakespeare or Sharat Chandra sometimes, and you say, wow, this could happen today. Nothing has really changed. I mean, people haven't changed, emotions haven't changed that much. I mean, something that would cause you stress and distress in the 60s or in the 50s or in the 20s would probably still cause you stress. So just because fashion and things or technique has changed, if your story is primarily about human relationships, then the chances are that it is still relevant today.
On a more technical, intense note, since I was there through the shooting of the film, there's this one characteristic of yours which came across to everybody, especially your co-stars, Dada, myself, the entire team. And at a lot of times, especially at certain key intense scenes, like probably the one where you run down the stairs and confront Lolita, or a few others, you have a tendency to psych yourself to a really high point to actually get into character and create that mood.
Yeah.
And that psyching yourself at times
becomes a little uncomfortable.
I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but your co-stars, tend to feel a little overawed, and everybody tends to feel, oh my God, is everything okay? So is that like a conscious thing? And if yes, what's it all about?
I don't know. I think it's kind of conscious, but basically it also happens, and it's not very clever or some sort of technique. It just, I think, after a while, if you're supposed to be, I don't figure out the switch on, switch off mechanism too well. because it's very tiring, you know, to keep going into a certain frame of mind and coming down to normal. Yeah, generally, I think if I have to be in a bad mood or angry, I kind of sort of get into one. And also, if I have to be normal and happy and stuff, then it's easier to be that also. Yeah, strangely, coincidentally, I don't know, it seems to reflect. Yeah, so I mean, there were many moments in this movie. But I think, I don't know, I think the stage I've reached, the way my mind is that I kind of take little bits from, I mean, everything is inspired from my life. I mean, if someone says, you know, look happy and look, you know, thoughtful about something, then there's many things that come into my mind that make me feel that way. Similarly, there's things that make me angry. So I think I figured out what my triggers are a little bit, which is interesting because I never did that before. Like, what makes you angry? What makes you happy? You know, what makes you cry? What makes you laugh? So Shekhar was required to be quite sort of in a basically frowny, you know, bad mood kind of guy. So yeah, often I would be required to be in a bad mood to play this part. So I would think about stuff that's upsetting me, and generally, you know, I'm not a method actor, but I think that's the only way I know how to do it. You can't be smiling and I can't be smiling and standing there, and the next minute, you know. But after it's over, it's a relief, and you know, you can come back to normal.
So, did you find Shekhar challenging, and do you feel that, you know, after being Shekhar for these months, you've, you know, grown? It's a little cliche, grown as an actor a bit, or?
You know, I don't know. See, I think acting and I mean, I'm no expert, but it's about communication, right? And it's about how you put things across. So in my mind, I don't know. I've not trained. So how do you play a character? You kind of figure out what he looks like, how, you know, in the body language, and the kind of what makes him react and how much does he react. You know, like some people react to certain things, like you laugh. Okay, now you laugh, but how much do you laugh? Is it like a, you know, some people don't. They're just like not that expressive. It's easier if you just think of personality types and just try and copy one of them in a way. Like, for example, my father, he's a reserved person, but he's funny and he's expressive. But there's a level to his expression. Like if he has to express, you know, a lot of satisfaction. I mean, he can also turn red and start laughing a lot. But generally they have a certain level which they don't go above, or, you know. At the same time, I think nothing is ever out of character, which is interesting. I think as a person, all of us have been villains and heroes and comedians and tragedy queens or kings in the space of one day sometimes. You know, you're rude to somebody, you're really polite to somebody, you're angry. So there's nothing that's out. People who say, you know, my character wouldn't do this is a bit scary, because I think every character can do anything. And it becomes really interesting if you do. Like if someone who doesn't ever react suddenly cracks a joke, people are like, oh, you know, it could be. So that's what also acting in cinema is about, is creating those moments and being a little surprising sometimes.
Was it like a smooth sail in terms of working with Dada? I mean, what kind of a rapport did you share with him? What was it like?
You know, it's quite amazing. There's a couple of filmmakers I felt like this about, but Dada definitely. You see, if you look at him and if you look at me, I mean, we look completely different, you know. Yeah. And if you would, but I think I have such similar takes on acting, at least in this movie. It was instant that the way I thought of playing it was exactly what he wanted. He understood it. And the moments we tried to create, we were both totally on the same page. So I think we have the same feeling for cinema, and that's the most wonderful thing about this job, is that there's so many different types of people around who are just bonded by this this desire to just make great films, you know, and to do good work. And from all over the place and all over the country, you have these minds that come together. So Dada and I think, always totally understood and got along, and he was such a support. And he told me from day one that you're just into the skin of the character. So maybe it was a bit like me, because I don't think I did prepare a little bit. I did prepare in the sense that, you know, I tried to figure out who he is and how he is and stuff like that. I read some books on, you know, how to create characters. And a lot of it was really interesting. Like I asked Dada one day, I said, if you had to describe Shekhar as an animal, what is the strongest animal streak in him? So I was thinking of things like panther or tiger, because they're really sexy. So he said horse. you know, like strong but confident, you know, loyal and hardworking. But at the same time, this confidence that, you know, if you go, the horse can just, you know, you can run fast, man, and just leave everybody behind. But he's not going. So I was like, oh, okay. So you want me to walk like, no, I mean, yeah.
Would you call yourself a director's actor?
Yeah, completely. I mean, you know, absolutely.
I mean, would you give yourself up entirely and submit yourself to what he would expect from you, or do you have this own attitude style which you would like to, you know, keep up for a while?
Well, it depends. I mean, we're always looking for direction, and the director is it's the director's medium, cinema. So you have to see, who do you do a film for? When you're acting, who's your first audience? In my mind, I think it is the director, because people coming to see the film are coming because of him. So their first job is to satisfy him.
More general note, on a more wider canvas, what was it like to do a feature film with, you know, Vidhu Vinod Chopra Productions, to work with the man himself? This is your first film with him, right?
Vidhu Vinod Chopra Productions is one of the big banners, and I had never worked with him or them. There's various kinds of producers, but genuine producers are artists, not just financial people. They realize their vision. They hire the director who they feel will realize their vision the best, and they give him the canvas. So it was a tremendous experience working with them. Not really that shockingly unlike any other big banner, who are used to doing a job a certain way and efficient and you know, doing it well.
Vidhu Vinod Chopra, Mr. Chopra, was like a deciding factor or a reasonably big factor in you wanting to do this?
See, I think he's great because he's really intelligent and he's, you know, got tremendous passion for cinema. But at the same time, he gave Dada so much space. He cast us, set the whole thing up, set it rolling, and then backed off. And was there, he wrote it, and he was there on the script, and in crucial points he was there. But also he let us make the movie on our own without intimidating us or taking us down any kind of path of his own, which is also the sign of a kind of paternal creator. You know, it's not easy.
While on the subject of, like you said, about, you know, casting and, you know, how the producer picks up people, now you must be aware when it came to selecting your heroine, there was a lot of debate, and apparently a whole round of rigorous testing was done before Vidya came through. So what was it like when, you know, you were intimidated for the first time that you're going to be starring opposite an absolutely fresh face, a total newcomer? I mean, how did you feel at the time?
Well, you know, I mean, there's two ways. I mean, one is you know, an insecure way, like where you feel that, you know, if everyone's a big star, then you're safer. But that's not really true. I mean, again, the director had a vision. He knew this girl. And frankly, I think when the film started, even I would have been, maybe if someone was saying a huge star like Aishwarya Rai or somebody could do this movie, I was like, wow, that sounds really great. Compared to a ranked newcomer who hasn't, you know, done anything really in cinema before. But it's not, I mean, when you see the film today and you see Vidya in that movie, I think there's so much that's genuine about her performance that is because she's new. Also on the business side of it, it's great to work with new girls because, I mean, I remember at one point Salman Khan, when after Maine Pyar Kiya, had done a string of films which were all huge hits with a new girl every time. New people sometimes make you look new also, you know, and they make the film look new and they make the characters look. So I don't know whether it's how she's been shot or whether she's done something with her makeup, but she's transformed herself into this character. And when I think about Parineeta, I do see myself in the movie, but I very clearly see many visuals of Vidya just looking amazing. So I'm really happy it worked out the way it did, and it's again Dada's conviction. I mean, Vinod did not want to cast either me or her, I think. And he repeatedly says that. But then after he saw the rushes in the film, he was like, okay, you know, I'm totally convinced that this is great. That's quite big in itself also.
There's this particular song in the film which is been shot in the mountains on a toy train sort of a thing. And I believe you mentioned to somebody that, you know, that was the same train on which your mum once shot something.
Yeah, I know. That's true. which I was really worried about because that was in the 60s and now we're in 2004 and I don't think they fixed it. And I thought it's going to fall off the tracks or something really scary is going to. Yeah, I'm sorry. I find these sort of trivia nostalgia things a little cheesy because a lot of people said, wow, it's the same train. I was like, yeah, okay, So, but that's maybe me being too shaker and unromantic or whatever. Then later on, I changed my thing and because the press people I was talking to were not impressed. So I was like, I'm very touched to be shooting on the same train that my mummy shot on for Aradhana. They liked that little more. But yeah, really, I shot in the same train.
Okay.
I don't think many trains have changed really since the 60s. I think the Rajdhani is the same train also, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Okay, same subject on a more interesting, on a more generic note. That song sequence, those 3-4 days, I mean, that up and down the hill was quite an adventure in itself.
Dada has almost wrecked that toy train. It's a beautiful old train and it's quaint and it takes you on this lovely journey up to Darjeeling. But Dada has reversed and taken that train up and down the tracks more intensely than I think it's ever done. Yeah. Amazing that the more interesting than shooting on the train was the story of getting the permission to shoot on the train, because there was an entire group of these people, and we shot one day, and then some dignitaries were coming, and we couldn't shoot the next day, and we sort of begged and pleaded in the hotel lobby with 10 of these guys who were being a little difficult, but generally they were quite nice, and they said no, 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 and I said, well, that's no, and it was Mrs. Sarkar. Like only a woman can do that, and only a wife, I think, can do that. She just went at them, sort of, what's the word, incessantly, until they said yes. So then we managed to shoot.
My personal recollection of the same, I believe we had serious crowd management issues at the time.
Oh my God, that's the good thing about my memories, like you forget stuff. It was crazy because the train goes parallel to the road and we're shooting this serene kind of song about a guy remembering his love and looking at the beautiful hills. And right behind us there's about like 50 motorbikes full of screaming, young hooligans that comprise most of our audience.
Okay, on a much more lighter note, can you just remember, or does anything come to your mind when we talk about interesting incidences on the set, or probably some pranks you might have pulled on someone, or vice versa? Or anything, which out of the ordinary which might have happened, or anything interesting you remember?
Dada pulled some pranks on me. I don't remember pulling any pranks.
So, why don't you tell us about some of them?
Well, he didn't let me go home for 2 days or something. He made me shoot from like 9 in the morning to about 9 at night 2 days later. Yeah, about 40 hours or something. And then he fell asleep. He has this habit, you see, of rewinding everything on the monitor in slow motion. So he keeps going like this, and then his tongue comes out slightly. And then he falls asleep, because we've been doing it for 30 hours. So he goes, I've seen him like that. I'm like, but Dada is very emotional. I believe he took a taxi cab once from the airport to Spectral Harmony, the recording studio is working it. And when he arrived there, he looked at the taxi cab driver and said, "You're going now?" So the guy's like, "Yeah." So we laughed because he doesn't want to let us go. So when we finished the movie, he's like, "Everybody's gone." We're like, "Yes, thank God." And he's like, "Oh."
Any bloopers that come to your mind?
Yeah. I think there's a climax scene where I got slapped by my father, and I sort of walk out. I walked into the table. It was just a comic moment.
What was it like, just, the whole Calcutta experience, just working in a city like Cal?
That was a blooper in itself. Calcutta for 40 days or so, it's a very beautiful city. My mother comes from Calcutta, and I have a deep maternal attachment to that city. Okay, that's not true. We were not shooting in Calcutta. Calcutta is really interesting, But we were shooting about an hour's drive from Calcutta in a house, which got a little tiring because, going and coming, and we were kind of cut off from everything.
Overall note, did you have fun? Was it like Or was it like work?
Yeah, it's fun. It's always fun. I'd never have that much fun. I'm too worried, and then I think I don't know if it's good enough, and then there's so much going on. I mean, I haven't had in any sort of successful movie. Also, I don't think I've had. Wow, that was fun. It's not fun. It's work. But sometimes you can have fun in the middle. Of course, there were some great guys in the unit, and we'd have a good laugh. And of course, it's fun. It's the greatest thing about the job. There's so many people come together. Got lots of money. In the middle, if you can just take it easy. But the process of making a movie is generally not fun. But I tell you something. Solo hero films, I think, are a little more fun. I'm the kind of guy when I work with like other male leads in the past, I've done it, you get a little like, where's my role going? All that kind of stuff happens. So this was much calmer. And also you feel you're getting the right amount of attention from your director. You're the guy in the movie. So that's all taken care of.
What do you think Parineeta is going to do for you, your career,
Never, I think, if you look at it really simply, you're an entertainer and you do films. If your films are entertaining enough, they run. So what I look for is to be part of like a successful film. And if Parineeta is a successful film, I think two things will happen. One, it just improves your standing and hopefully you'll get more offers for more interesting films. And also it'll showcase a certain dimension to your personality that people are not all that familiar with still. But they will be soon.
As far as the on-floor job is concerned, Parineeta is practically a wrap as of now. So, how does it feel? Are you happy? Are you looking forward to doing work with the same unit again, or what is it like?
Yeah, very much so. I am very happy and I think it's great. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen bits and pieces of it and extensions of it constantly. But I am yet to see the entire film so I'm also a little nervous, I don't know. I know it's beautiful and it's really well made and I think I've put everything into it in terms of I'm totally satisfied with my performance. I'm usually not, but I am this time. So, the rest is up to God and up to our audience, let's see.
Sanjay Dutt, he also plays a very vital character in the film. And from what I believe you spent a lot of time with him, probably grown up with him in a way. So what was it like to work with him, especially when you were the hero of the film?
I don't know, Sanju is great. He's one of the most interesting personalities I've ever met. He's, apart from anything else, he's a really, really nice guy. We're both Leos and we're both irreverent. So Dada is making such a traditional film with us in such traditional costumes and behaving like these characters that are actually, and what we were doing off the set was, just rubbish and fooling around. And the environment around Sanju is always like that. He's a real star and he's a lion. So it's always great fun, and he makes it clear that you don't need to take it so seriously. It's also about having fun, basically. It's a really fun job. Come on, it's not. It was really amusing in a tragic way to see Sanjay Dutt trapped in Calcutta for 40 odd days. Because I think Dada, out of respect for Vinod Chopra, Sanju didn't say a word. And was very cooperative and loving, But I believe Dada had him hanging around for like two days without shooting with him. And I'm pretty sure normally Sanju would have either left or definitely shot. But that's the charm about him. So the big lion was just purring away and, completely behaving himself. Which was, to me, very funny to watch. I saw him looking at Dada a couple of times, like,